Hi, welcome back to Climbing Mountains and Heels. My name is Alex the Oceanaut, as you can quite clearly see in the left-hand corner.
I'm Charley VegyDise. Thank you for joining us on this journey of climbing mountains in your beautiful heels and conquering success. I'm really excited about tonight's topic, which is find your happiness. But first, don't forget to hit subscribe and your little like button. That way you're notified by all the future videos and hopefully you like our content. All right,
Mhm.
we're going to dig right in.
Agreed.
So, Alexandra, what do you think happiness is?
Happiness. That is a very good question. I mean, I think it varies from person to person what happiness is, because I think happiness is relative to the person. Oh
Yeah,
God, I'm sounding very philosophical today.
I like it.
So, for me, happiness is, I know it's very hard for me to put it into words because it's a feeling. There's this bright, bubbly feeling. I think of like lots of bright colors, and I think of smiling and laughing. Happiness is when you just feel good. You feel good about yourself. You feel good about, the way life is going or the direction it's taking for you. That's
Definitely.
how I view happiness.
Yeah, I completely agree with you and stuff. Happiness, one thing and stuff was a lot of people think of it as external, as like, oh, my boyfriend needs to provide happiness for me or make me happy or so and so, or if all of these things line up, then I'll be happy. But the number one thing and stuff to remember is that happiness comes from within. We choose what makes us happy. We choose like what little things that we're grateful for, and a whole bunch of other things that actually lead up to true happiness. So today we are bringing 4 different ideas to you on how to create happiness in your life and internally, instead of just focusing on the external part. So the first one we're going to talk about tonight, Alexandra, is so that
Oh,
we
sorry. we um we learn more about ourselves.
yeah. So
So
how is a couple ways and stuff that you can learn more about yourself?
I think sitting down and thinking about what gives you those happy feelings,
Mm-hmm.
which, for me, I know that if I'm having a really rough day, coming home and just like picking up a good book or snuggling with my husband, because I'm a person who enjoys comfort. And I just, so, growing up, that's what I would do with my mom if I were having a bad day, is we would like snuggle together. I just associate it with like comfort and happiness for me. So it's a fond memory that I have.
Yeah, that's really good. Sorry, guys. I know you'll probably see that we both yawn a lot for these videos. We do them really late and then post them really early. So don't
Yeah.
mind the yawning, please. Okay, so that brings us into like learning more about ourselves. Like good ways to learn more about who we are and is important because of the fact like that way we know what fills our love bucket or what fills our like energy reserve so we can actually succeed at life. So there's traditionally 5 different love languages and you gotta figure out what works for you. Like Alexandra's the touchy feely person. There's another one that's gift giving, another one's it's words,
Words of
Personally,
affirmation. It's words of
yeah,
affirmation.
that one. And
Yeah. I some of it's like I know what you're talking about because like some of it's like monetary, like gift giving. The others are like words of affirmation. Some of them are like acts of kindness, which for
which is
me,
mine.
I'm another person, like acts of kindness work good for me, but like touch and is one of them as well. So I know there it is a good book, and the aspect of it is a good preface because I've taken the test myself to determine like which primary love language is mine.
Mhm.
And I actually took it with my husband Pete, and we realized that we're both very different love languages, but now we understand. It's nice because then you can kind of understand better what works better for your partner, and
Yeah,
they understand what works better for you based on your love language.
agreed. So personally, mine is acts of kindness. The one thing that completely shuts me down is touchy feely crap. I completely understand. Cuddling is very sweet and stuff. I think has such OCD and like a germaphobe, and that was before pandemic, and then the pandemic was like, don't come 16. that was that was just a lucky number, but it's true. If you're at 6 feet, I'm comfortable. If you're at 4 feet and 2 feet, my escalation of freaking out is soaring. But
That's like another like boundary thing too.
it is, which I don't know if any of you guys saw last week's video, but we talked about boundaries, and how to set them and how to cope with life in general. Um, but so it's important to know who you are and what you stand for, what fills your energy and your love. And that way you can actually find happiness. You can do things that make you happy. You can set those boundaries for things that don't make you happy or that make you anxious or overwhelmed.
Hmm.
It's really exciting. And like learning about yourself is extremely exciting and very important.
Yeah.
A little bit about who I am, and Alexandra knows this. Uh, I lost my dad when I was 15, but I continuously found myself in repetitive, very short term relationships. And then when I got to the long term relationships, I never took a break in between them. I went from one relationship to another. So these last 4 years since I had my son, I primarily focused on myself, and learning who I am, what I stand for, what I want. That way, when I do choose to go into a relationship next, I can set those boundaries comfortably. I can actually show my son what a proper healthy relationship is, and like just what I know what fills my love bucket, so I don't get drained or give everything I have to the other person and leave myself with nothing, because then I have nothing to give either, and I just start fighting and stuff like that. So get to know who you are.
Hmm.
So next thing is, okay, so this actually sidelines into our very next topic, which is get to know what really matters in life for you personally. Um, so mine is family, like my son, me, you guys, because the fact that this brings me so much joy and fulfillment actually fills my bucket, and I get to be able to be creative and other things and stuff. So, Alexander, what are a couple of things and stuff that you find that mean the most to you in the world?
Hmm. I have to agree with you in the aspect like family is a very big thing for me.
Yeah.
Um, having while I can be the touchy-feely kind of person, I still enjoy my own personal space and my solitude.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the pandemic has made that even more abundantly clear that I thought that I was a person that needed to constantly go out and be an extrovert, but now I'm leaning more towards like the introvert aspect. Um, my kids mean a lot to me. I would go above and beyond for
Yeah.
them. Um, I also like friends is included in family because I don't really think that I have like friends. I feel like they're more like an extension of my family. So because I have so few, which isn't a bad thing, that they're an extension of my family. So I treat them as such and they're also important to me.
Hmm.
And then ocean life, as we can see by my lovely background. That's
Yeah,
another
I
thing
was
that's
waiting for
important.
it.
Yeah, I was like, I have this shirt. It's got like a whale's tail and it literally says protect our planet.
I just realized and stuff the other things we have extremely in common that we kind of grew into together simultaneously, but didn't really realize it. You like the ocean and saving the planet in the ocean's sake, along with others, I realize. But I'm like full force, zero waste, minimalist. You don't want crap to go in the landfills. So, but yeah,
It's
definitely
like a
friends
nice
are like the
extension. Yeah.
extension. So
All right. So I guess that leads us to number three, right?
yeah,
Learning not to self-destruct.
yeah, which I used to do all the time.
I feel like I still do it. Like I feel like I self-destruct a lot, but I feel like I'm more aware of it now. Like as I'm getting ready to self-destruct or as I'm self-destructing, I'm aware that I'm self-destructing.
That's a
And I
humongous step.
feel like this week I it's been better
Mhm.
since our last conversation on here last week.
Ooh.
We after we were done,
Hmm.
my husband and me took like a little drive and we went to go get, I forget what we were going to go get on it.
Yeah.
No, we went to go get drinks. That's what we did. We went to go to the Wawa up the road and we got drinks and we took a long way around.
Yeah.
We just, we were talking. He was like, I listened to you on the um, live and because he was sitting outside the window because my window's like directly facing the carport. So he was sitting out there and he was listening. And he was like,
That makes me so
we
happy.
had a conversation and I felt like it brought us closer together. He made me realize a couple of things
Ooh.
about stuff. Like, when we were talking about how I prefer how my brain works differently and how I prefer the house a certain way and that they don't necessarily understand it,
Yeah.
he made me realize he was like, why do you think it needs to be your way? Give me an argument because he likes to debate. He's like, give me a reason as to why it has to be your way. Why is your way better than everybody else's? And I couldn't come up with a reason because I don't, my way isn't necessarily, it's a state of mind and it's
It
a
is.
prerogative. So it's he was like, you realize that then it becomes a want, not a need. It's a want, not a need. And I was like, okay, yeah, I get that. And he's like, just come up with the argument as to why it has to be your way. He's like, I don't disagree with you that the house could be cleaner, but why does it have to be your way? What makes your way so much better than everybody else's? And I was like, I don't even know. I don't know why I feel like it's better. I just feel like it is. And I was like, I grew up with a father who was a clean freak and still to this day, he is a clean freak.
He is.
And yeah, he is so neurotic. And that's where I think I get it from. And I lived with my mom. And for the most part, my mom, because she was a single mom and she was working all the time, didn't have the time to clean the house. And
Yeah,
she was
she was more
also like,
relaxed.
she was part hoarder, I feel like. So it was a lot. They were very two different extremes of the
Mhm.
spectrum. And I feel like because of that, I have now been on two of the opposite extreme spectrums because
Okay.
I can be lax, and I get the hoarder tendencies because I collect books. It's a thing. I don't know how to stop it. I don't even know if I want to stop it because I collect books.
If it brings you joy, then you don't have to stop it.
And I mean, it makes my house look messier, which makes me frustrated. But then I get the neurotic tendencies on how the house should be. And I feel like because I lived with the messiness, that I have to be the other way, like my dad. So I was like, it was a nice talk. It was
Yeah,
definitely a nice talk to have with him.
I
And
completely get
you know, I realized I feel like we got a little sidetracked because we went off on that little tangent.
No, no,
But
no, no. It's we're learning about self-destruction, and this is completely that.
so
Um,
I feel like today I had a self-destruct moment at work for the
mhm.
past 2 days because our system that we used, one of our systems that we use to make appointments, wasn't working both days. Yesterday, it took them almost like 3 hours to get it back up and running, and today was far less. But I had like all this stuff to do, and I'm partially crippled when you can't use this
When you
system to
can't
make
use the
appointments
software,
because
yeah.
that's the whole premise of my job.
Okay.
And I was so frustrated, and then it kind of like spiraled, and then I like had to like take a couple deep breaths, and I'm like training, and I've got somebody else who's partially training who doesn't understand that when I am on the phone and I'm talking to somebody that they can't ask me a question. Like they have to wait. They can't ask me a question and then because I don't answer, go ahead and ask me the same question.
Yeah,
Like
that's
it,
overwhelming.
yeah, it was just so much. And I was like, oh my God, I could feel the self-destruct moment. I felt it happen. But then I was like, positive mindset, take a couple deep breaths. It's gonna be fine. If not everything gets done today, it's not the end of the world. It's okay. We have tomorrow and we can work on it. But at least I can take it step by step, chunk by chunk, and get it all done. And I actually got a lot more accomplished today than I thought I would. So it
Good
felt like the
job.
self-destruct moments was like a turning point because I like that I realized that I'm self-destructing.
That's good. Okay,
And then
so the with the Peter situation, the the one way and stuff is like, yeah, you want the house nice and tidy and clean, and it helps with anxiety. Your family wants to live in the moment and be a family and do family oriented things.
yeah.
Uh, since you came from both extremes, it your mindset is split and it should be trying to meet up with each other. So your goal now is to figure out an affirmation that will allow it to meet up with each other. So you compromise with your family, so your family can compromise with you. And then that way your stress can go down and you'll actually be training your brain to allow that to those circumstances to not allow them to stretch you out. Sorry, that was a lot
Mm-hmm.
of words. Um, I used to self-destruct all the time, especially coming from a troubled childhood and stuff. I did not learn good coping skills. The only thing I had was dance and going over to Alexandra's house, which was a lifesaver. Both of those. When I was 16, I literally woke up and I could not dance anymore because I was paralyzed. And I went to be vegan, and by that point, dancing was over. But so it's really important to learn techniques and stuff to first recognize that you're about to self-destruct. Second, try to redirect it before it happens. And third, to start incorporating coping skills or coping skills and self-care to avoid you from even getting to those points. Everybody's gonna have their relationships. This week was difficult again, just like you, I was able to actually tell that I was about to self destruct because unfortunately I lost a family member and the funeral was this week. I also had a lot on my plate and stuff at my day job, and then trying to keep with my schedule and stuff for the videos, which those are a relief. Those are to me are self care. So that was not the hard part. It's just doing the balancing act of everything else and meeting everybody's needs. But when I recognized that I was grieving, I allowed myself to grieve, to do the
Hmm.
self care. And my son helped me with that surprisingly. Well, that's surprisingly. He's such a caring little boy. So thankful. But so remember the phases of learning how to stop self-destructing and actually take your time and stuff and work through them and recognize your feelings. So you can just go, nope, this ain't happening. Let me go fill my love buckets with self care and let me go figure out a way to de stress and cope and be able to move to the next one. So that brings us into stop letting social media tell you how to be happy. I'm sorry, this one makes you crack up every time.
Yeah, so I know in this day and age, especially with everything that's been going on in the world, social media plays such a big part in the lives of what we do today.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, even ads and other things are certainly pre-programmed
Yeah.
to cater to certain people. And I feel this a lot. Um, to what is socially acceptable
Mm-hmm.
or what is the social like or what's the norm or should be the norm. And if you don't fit into this little box that it you don't there's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
That is like for me that hits really close to home, especially, this week. Actually, I had it was yesterday. I walked in and we have to do temperature checks at work. And I had a lady at the front desk and she was like, "How long have you been here, Alex?" And I go, "Oh, I've been working here for 3 years and about 4 months. I've been working here for a bit." And she goes, have you had any kids since you were here?" And I said, "No, I had all of my kids prior to starting at this company. So no, I didn't have any." Um, I go, "Why?" And she goes, "Well, I was looking at the pictures, everyone's hire pictures. And, you just looked so different. You looked so skinny." She's like, "You put on a lot of weight since you started here."
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, ha, 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 ha. My self-esteem already
Commented.
sucks. It's not usually very high. And I struggle with self body issues regardless. And most days it's pretty low, but I'd say it's like in the middle. It's not high, but it's in the middle. And I was like, well, okay. Looks at ground. It was like, well, there goes my self esteem all the way to the floor. And I go, well, I I lived in a house and I had a lot of stress and a lot of things were different when I was first hired. I said, and then I just had that accident last year and I had to go through a whole bunch of rehabilitation and I'm still not comfortable with doing some things because of the accident. So I was like, yeah, um, I know that I could stand to lose a couple of pounds and it's a work in progress. It doesn't happen overnight, and I know this,
Yeah.
but it was very devastating. And I was like, yeah, because this is how society is programmed in this day and age that if you are not a stick figure, like my pen, if you're not a stick, you're not worth any. You're not worth anything. There's something wrong with you. And I mean, there's been times and I feel like nothing is driven home more than when I work for this company because anytime I have an issue where, I my scrubs get completely soaked because we live in Florida and, it rains, and when it rains, it freaking pours. So there's been times when I've come back and it was sunny when I left for lunch, and I come back and it's downpour, and I have to park across the street. So it's not like I'm parking in the parking lot and running to the door. No, I'm coming from across the street, and I am soaked, and I have to go get a change of clothes from the surgery center upstairs. And I have such a hard time finding something because every one of them up there is like my pen. They're a stick. And I am not. I'm sorry. I have curves, and I know that I'm a little overweight, but you know what? That's who I am at this point, and I have to accept it
Yeah,
and move forward with it. So,
completely understandable. And like a lot of society and stuff tries to say, yeah, a stick figure is healthy. Realistically, a healthy person who looks healthy doesn't matter what shape, size, body, any any characteristics to determine. As long as you're healthy and you're right side up and you're grateful to be on the right side of the ground, then that's important. But
exactly.
constantly get it given input to push us down or say you need to conform and stuff. And this world is very diverse in all different kinds of things and stuff. So it makes it difficult to go like, oh yeah, I'm not this particular person. I don't check these boxes. Or like even when you're doing medical forms or anything, like the boxes aren't there. Like what do I put? Like, can I just check all the boxes and then like add my own?
Other. I'm making or draw like your own box and
Yeah,
check it
I'm gonna start.
and write
I'm gonna
something.
start putting my own box. Like if you don't have a suitable box for me, I'm gonna start putting my own box because of the fact like if we were different and we were all uniform, would the world be? We'd be all robots. We don't want to be robots. We're human beings. We have emotions and characteristics that actually set us. Like to be Alexander, Charlie be Charlie, baby Anthony be Anthony. Like I don't. There shouldn't be uniformity. We need to learn to embrace who we are and to start setting aside our mindset and actually figuring out, like, okay, this is what I think about myself. This is what I'm comfortable with. Let's build on this. All the other things that I'm feeling and seeing in life, this is just outside input that I really just need to say, okay, it's there. I'm going to leave it in that bucket over there because it does not benefit me in my bucket. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
help me create a successful life. It doesn't help me go after my goals. It doesn't benefit me anyway. It adds to my self-destruct button, which I'm trying to eliminate. Which to me, the self-destruct button is
Exactly.
the staples of button. I'm sorry, there's somebody dancing
Yeah,
at the
that's like
moment. Yeah, the easy
the
stop
easy
button. It
button.
needs to be the easy no destruct button. So we need to start learning to weed out and embrace who we are. We don't want to be uniform. It's pointless. If we were a uniform and stuff, you know all those people that are like millionaires on social media, they want to be millionaires because we'd all be the same. So what's the point?
Exactly.
So embrace who you guys are. So back to overview of the four topics, which learn more about yourself,
Mhm.
learn what really matters to you most, stop self-destructing, eliminate that button. It doesn't need to be there. Learn to actually self-fulfill like your emotions and stuff like that. And stop letting social media dictate and tell you who you are or the outside world. It doesn't matter who they are. If they don't benefit you, then eliminate it. My speech is like blah, 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 blah. Especially since I'm a little distracting creature next to me.
That's okay. It kind of reminds me of a YouTuber I
I'm a little
watch, Bailey.
distracting.
It
There's a lot of
reminds
stuff.
me of like Bailey Sarrian. She's like a crime drama. She does a murder mystery makeup Monday thing.
Ooh,
And like, yeah, and she like has trouble like pronouncing words, and it's funny. I love it.
that's great. Then good. If you find it funny, keep laughing at me. I don't really care because I laugh at myself all the time. I'll embrace my little language speech issues.
That's okay. I think we all go through it.
You know this is stuck with me like the whole time. Okay.
I was
It's
like,
one of
I
my
go through
strengths.
it. I know.
All right, so it's really excited to have you guys on here tonight and to be able to do this every single week. If you like our content, please hit the like button at the bottom because the fact that that way more people can see it. Since we're a
Mhm.
small channel, we don't have that many subscribers, and that's the only way people actually find us and find content that can help everybody find their own mountains in their beautiful heels. Um, you got anything else, Jenny?
I don't think I do. I think that pretty much covers it for today. I'm excited for next week's video and to join you all again. I look forward to these lives every week. They get me through. And now I'm gonna start doing mine again. I'm just taking like another
Yay.
week to like adjust an adjustment period with everyone's schedules back on track. And then after that, we'll be back up and running with Alex the Oceanaut. As I said, as I said in the last video, I have most of my next animal done and I have the next two planned out. So I'm
Yay.
really excited to share all of that information with you. It'll be quite interesting. And I'll start posting more on Alex the Oceanaut on my Facebook page, and I'll start working on my YouTube videos and getting a site or a blog up and running as well. So
Yay.
lots of new goals for myself, just going to chip at them away one at a time.
Good. I'm really looking forward to just being able to stay consistent this year. All right.
Yes.
So don't forget to check out our other videos. And I hope all of you guys have a fantastic night. Bye.
Have a good night. Bye.